Hey guys, it's Saoirse. It's been forever. I know I keep doing this. I've got to stop going so long in between videos. But as it turns out, grad school is a lot of work. And maybe I've said this before, but I really should repeat it. Grad school is a lot of work. And I have just had no free time. This semester is already over. Remember when I talked to you as the semester was beginning, or maybe it hadn't even begun? And I hadn't even started doing any of the work for it yet. And now here we are and it's already over. It went really quick, but also semesters here are a lot shorter. It was only like 10 or 11 weeks of actual instruction. And in that time we managed to read this many books. I think, what is this? 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, plus a very long short story. So this was for my class called Acts of Storytelling, and I just wanted to make this video to show you guys what we read in one semester of this class, which is part of my creative writing master's degree at the University of Edinburgh in Scotland. So some of these books I really didn't like, and some of them I loved. And as a matter of fact, at this very moment, I'm supposed to be working on my final essay for this class, because that is due in like 2 days, and then a week after that my writing portfolio for my other part of this semester is due. So the way that it works is we pretty much just have 2 classes, but one of them is split into a seminar and a workshop. So I had Acts of Storytelling as the kind of like elective, and then I have my core creative writing class, and for that, once a week I went to a seminar, and also on another day went to my writing workshop where we workshopped each other's writing. And it's a very small class, only 9 people, so you really get to go into detail with everybody's work, which is kind of terrifying but also pretty cool. Like it's really nice to be surrounded by writers who are just like trying to get through this as much as I am. Because it's a lot. I did not expect to be doing so much reading, and obviously, welcome to my channel. I love reading. But I had hoped that I'd be doing a lot more writing in this program, so I'm kind of surprised by that, because I've told you guys before I'm not a fast reader, so I pretty much just read constantly this semester and didn't have much time for much else. I mean, I did still get to enjoy a few things, like I did beginners rowing and archery programs, and I got certified as a Zumba instructor. I haven't taught any classes yet, but I'm certified, so that's really exciting. And I've made some friends and done some cool things, but for the most part it's just been like keeping up with this. And yeah, I just needed a break from writing that essay today because it's almost done. And I was just starting to like not be able to think straight, so here we are. And I'm going to apologize every time I make a video for the lack of light in this country. This is like really artificial light glaring in my eye right now, because there's just no sunlight. Like, it very rarely happens. And also it gets dark at like 3:30 now, so that's fun. I'm from Florida, and it's literally the sunshine state. I don't know how to cope with it being dark all the time. Dark and cold and wet and gray. Yeah, I'm sure you didn't come here to listen to my anxieties about weather, but I just like to be open with anybody that I talk to, and so no, I'm not like living the dream and having the most fun of my life every single moment of every day. Yeah, I do some really fun things, and the opportunity to come over here is incredible. But it's just like, if I was living at home, I would still have the same worries, the same fears. Just now it's a lot darker. But yeah, I'm finding things to enjoy in every day. It's about the little things, and sometimes one of those little things is looking at the stack of books that you didn't think you would get through, but you did. And a couple of them are now like some of your favorite books. And I'm going to do a video once I get all of the books for next semester, I'm going to do a video and show you guys beforehand what they are. I'm really excited about those. I'm taking a class called Literature, Reading, and Mental Health, and you know I'm taking it because Villette is on the reading list. I'm predictable, but how could I pass that up? So that is going to be my other class in addition to my writing class next semester, and then it's over. It's such a quick year. Yeah, it's gonna go by really, really fast. And then who knows what's next. But I'll tell you what's next for, as far as this channel goes. I'm going to do a video. Okay, so I said I'm going to do the video with all the books for next semester. That's planned, and I want to do videos on a couple of the books that I'm about to show you. Maybe you can tell me if there's any of them in particular that you really want to have me talk about, because some of them I just won't get into, because either I didn't like them that much or I just don't have that much to say. And then in December, it is December already, wow, how did that happen? But I guess towards the end of the month, or maybe I'll even put them up next year, but I really want to do what I've been saying that I'm going to do for like a year now, which is to do a guided reading of Villette. So because I'm reading it for next semester, and because it's such a long book and I don't want to have to rush through it in like the 1 week that they give us to read it, because all of these books we had a week to read, not even a week, because we had to do like assignments with them at the end of the week, so like maybe 5 days to read, and some of these books are almost 500 pages, and Villette is over 500 pages, this edition. So you know I have a lot of editions of Villette, they're all different, but around 500 pages. So I want to really get into the book in detail. So I want this to be my first video where I spend more than one video on a book. So because Villette is in 3 volumes, I thought it would be nice to just do 1 video per volume, even though the second one is kind of shorter than the other 2. But do you guys think that would be helpful? Is anybody gonna watch that? I mean, maybe it's just for me, but in case you were curious about my favorite book and my thoughts on it, and maybe you need kind of help like getting through it, because it is a long Victorian novel, and that isn't easy for everybody to get into. And I'm not saying I'm any kind of expert, or that I have any like particular insight that will really enlighten your experience, but I thought it could be fun. And I was originally going to apply to this university for a Victorian literature master's, but it was a research degree and I really didn't want to do a research degree. I much prefer being taught, so I went with writing. Anyway, I've got this edition of Villette because I guess this is what our professor wanted us to have, the Oxford World's Classics edition. At least I hope this is the right one, because I'm about to start really going into it, because I think now that I have so many editions of Villette, it's ridiculous. I think I can break my usual rule and maybe write in this one. That's crazy. But yeah, I really want to mark it up and just dig into it. Just saying that is scary. But yeah, that's the plan. So throughout December, like while I'm on break, because I have about a 6-week break from actual classes, which is just unheard of to me. So look out for those videos. And Caddy's trying to get up here. The cats are doing great, in case you were wondering. I have to clear my throat 1,000 times because maybe I'm not doing so great, but the cats are great. Look at that. Say hi. Say hi. She's like, what is this blinding light? I know, it's like this bare bulb that sits on my desk and it is so bright. But man, I miss natural light. I'm coming back to Florida for about a week on New Year's Day. I'm so looking forward to it. I never thought I would miss heat and sunshine. Isn't that crazy? You grow up with something and of course, well, it's true, the grass is always greener. Like, why did I think that wasn't true? Yeah, it's good to appreciate where you're from, I think, and sometimes you have to go very far away to learn how to do that. Anyway, why don't we take a look at these books? That's what we're here for. So the first one we read, I'm going to do these in order. The first one we read was The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie by Muriel Spark. And I'll be quite frank, I hated it. I really didn't like it, and it seemed like almost everybody else liked it. And I swear it's not like that I'm unintelligent or something, or I just didn't get it. I just despised the writing style. I really hate the main character, because obviously she's evil. The way that she manipulates little girls and tries to like live through them, it's very creepy. And I didn't really want to read about a character like that as our, maybe you could say protagonist, but she's not really. Yeah, it was just not my thing at all. Feel free to let me know your thoughts about any of these books. Some of them I'd never even heard of before. I'd heard of this and had heard such good things that I was really excited about it, but not a winner in my book. But the second one I liked a lot more, and I don't think I'd heard of this one before, but I'd heard of Edith Wharton. It's The House of Mirth, but I'd never read any Wharton before. And I loved this. It was just, it was kind of tough to get through in a few days. It's pretty dense. It's only like 300 pages, but it's from the early 20th century, so yeah, just, you know how it was. It's not as easy to read things from that long ago. But then, I actually find like mid-century novels harder. Like, when was this one published? I should have known all of this, but I think the 60s? I find books from like the 50s and 60s to be some of the hardest, most impenetrable prose, and I don't know why that is, but they just drive me nuts sometimes. But I really loved this one, even though the main character, Lily Bart, is not very likable. I think Edith Wharton does this really successfully in giving us a character that is flawed and, not your typical hero, but makes us kind of grow to, I don't know if I want to say pity them, or just kind of understand where they're coming from, why they are the way they are, based on how they were raised. Because the back of this book made me think I was really going to hate it. It says, the beautiful Lily Bart lives among the nouveau riche of New York City, people whose millions were made in railroads, shipping, land speculation, and banking. In this morally and aesthetically bankrupt world, Lily, aged 29, seeks a husband who can satisfy her craving for endless admiration and all the trappings of wealth, until her quest comes to a scandalous end when she is accused of being the mistress of a wealthy man. Exiled from her familiar world of artificial conventions, Lily finds life impossible. So that made it sound like she was just a vapid nothing, and I was going to hate it. But it is so lovely, the writing, so I liked it a lot. Then we have this one, which I hadn't heard of. It's A Sport and a Pastime by James Salter. And this was basically a stream of consciousness, first-person, present tense, pornographic travelogue. I think that's the only way I can describe it. I didn't hate it, but it just wasn't very interesting to me. It says, in 1960s France, two men meet and become friends. One of them is Philip Dean, a footloose Yale dropout, arrived to tour provincial France and Paris in a borrowed, once elegant car. When Dean meets Anne-Marie, a young shopgirl, they begin a feverish love affair. The other man, our unnamed narrator, can only look on, tell their story, and imagine their sensual paradise. So it's like this creepy, voyeuristic thing where the narrator is just kind of picturing his friend and this girl together. But he's too afraid to talk to women himself. Yeah, it didn't do anything for me, really. I think all these books are kind of chosen to show us the different ways in which you can narrate and storytelling methods you might not have considered as a writer. And let me tell you, after doing this degree, I'm never going to be able to read the same way because I'm just thinking about like all these techniques, like all these writing techniques that I wasn't like conscious of before. Springer's trying to come up. He hasn't said hi yet. Come on, buddy. We want to see you. Boy, there he is. See, he's doing good. Yeah, they're great. Anyway, so here comes one of the books that I am writing my essay on, and I just picked my 2 favorite books to write the essay on. We had to pick 2, and it's really hard for me to write about books that I don't like, or ones that are just not interesting. So I picked the 2 that were my favorites, and they actually fit with the thesis that I wanted to write about. So this is Jazz by Toni Morrison, and it's pretty much tied for my favorite from this semester. I had never heard of Jazz, but I'd heard of Toni Morrison, so I didn't really know what to expect. But it is brilliant. It is musical, lyrical, gorgeous. Oh dear, here we go. Isn't this familiar? He's standing right in front of the light. Come on. Come on. Okay, alright, he's gonna knock everything off. Let's see what we can do. Let's see. Oh my god. Alright. Yeah, we almost had a little crash there. So, anyway, Jazz, why don't I just read you the back. Joe Trace, in his 50s, door-to-door salesman of Cleopatra beauty products, erstwhile devoted husband, shoots dead his lover of 3 months, the impetuous 18-year-old Dorcas. At the funeral, his determined, hard-working wife, Violet, who is given to stumbling into dark mental cracks, tries with a knife to disfigure the corpse. Passionate and profound, Jazz brings us back and forth in time, in a narrative assembled from the hopes, fears, and realities of Black urban life. I don't even know what to say. It's funny because I'm writing a 4,000-word essay about this, and I'm not sure what to say. But this is one of the ones that I was going to make a full video on. So I hope that interests people. Basically, in my essay, I'm talking about the importance of direct address and kind of diving into the use of orality and musicality in this book, and also orality in the other book that I'm about to talk about. And I'm not going to give away what I'm saying in my essay, mostly because I think it might be ridiculous, and I just want to get a good grade. But yeah, really, I don't want to give away like the end. It's very cool, like what she does with the narrator in this book. Because it's not really clear who they are from the beginning. It's too good. Too good. You have to read it. Just believe me. And I want to do a video on it. But anyway, this is the other one that I'd like to talk more about. Tracks by Louise Erdrich. And this one... I'll just read you the back again. Set in North Dakota at a time in the past century when Indian tribes were struggling to keep what little remained of their lands, Tracks is a tale of passion and deep unrest. Over the course of 10 crucial years, as tribal land and trust between people erode ceaselessly, men and women are pushed to the brink of their endurance, yet their pride and humor prohibit surrender. That didn't really tell me much. I feel like I wasn't really prepared for what this was going to be, but it was absolutely stunning. There's 2 narrators in it. It alternates chapters between a male narrator and a female narrator, and they're kind of at odds with each other. And in my essay for this book, I'm focusing on the Native American oral tradition of storytelling and why that's important here in a textual format. So, a lot to think about. Now I'm just thinking about how I have to write that essay. I'm almost done. I really want to finish tonight. But I think this might have been my favorite this semester. It's really hard. Jazz and Tracks, they're both just fantastic. It just felt different, you know? Like you really can hear the story. I don't know. I haven't read anything quite like it. It was kind of poetic, which you guys know is my favorite thing. Like, writing style is my favorite. I don't care as much about plot. And this next one, didn't do it for me with the writing style or the plot. The French Lieutenant's Woman by, what's his first name? John, yeah, John Fowles. I really didn't like it. It's it was a bestseller, and this is a mid-century book, 1969. Why was it a bestseller? Don't know. It is basically a bizarre meta thing where John Fowles like pops in as the narrator all the time and tells us like, this is pretending to be a Victorian novel, and it's not really a Victorian novel, and I'm writing from the future, and you know how I feel about people trying to write Victorian literature. It is not the Victorian era anymore, and the people who lived during that time did it best, so stop trying, just maybe stop trying. I don't know, I get so upset when I think about it, but I really didn't like this book. Again, other people liked it. Sue me, I don't know what to tell you. This one I liked a lot better. I don't want to say her name wrong, I've listened to it so many times. This is Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, I think. I can't say it perfectly, but this was another really long one, and in this one, I didn't really miss the fact that it was like not poetic or lyrical or anything, because the story was just really engaging. So there's the opposite there. Like, usually I prefer things to be more poetic, and I care less about the story, but this is just like a long story that just felt so real. Like, it just really felt like I was reading about this woman's life. Oh, I didn't even read you the back of this one, but it's just a pathetic attempt at a love story. There's nothing special about it, and I mean, if that's what love is, well, count me out. On the back of this one, I'll read you, it says, Ifemelu and Obinsa are young and in love when they depart military-ruled Nigeria. In America, Ifemelu has to grapple with what it means to be black despite her academic success. Obinsa plunges into a dangerous, undocumented life in London. 15 years later, when they reunite in a newly democratic Nigeria and reignite their passion for each other and for their homeland, they face the hardest decision of their lives. It's just really good. It's just very engaging and thought-provoking. This one, Invisible Cities, Italo Calvino. Super short, which I was excited about, but didn't love it. It's really poetic. Definitely doesn't really follow a normal narrative. It's Marco Polo conjuring up cities of magical times for his host, Kublai Khan. And it becomes clear that he's just talking about Venice the whole time. So it's a bunch of cities with different names, but it's like, are they all Venice? Are some of them Venice? He just really loves Venice. And some of them are really cool. And those are worth reading. Like the few that I marked are really nice and evocative images and all that. But overall, it just got really pretentious for me. The last one I was the most excited about, because this was on my list for a long time, Milkman by Anna Burns. And I thought when I picked it up like a year ago that it was sci-fi, because it said like middle sister is whatever, and I was like, middle sister, that just sounds like a science fiction way to talk about somebody that doesn't have a name. On the back of this one, it says, in an unnamed city where to be interesting is dangerous, an 18-year-old woman has attracted the unwanted and unavoidable attention of a powerful and frightening older man, Milkman. In this community where suggestions quickly become fact, where gossip and hearsay can lead to terrible consequences, what can she do to stop a rumor once it has started? Milkman is persistent, the word is spreading, and she's no longer in control. And it turns out it's about Belfast and the Troubles. It's 1970s Belfast, which I'm very interested in. But this book kind of read like this massive manifesto with no paragraph breaks. I mean, almost no paragraph breaks. It is just like long passages of, you can tell it's like the author's thoughts. And it's, I feel like I want to say more about it, but I'm really running out of time. So maybe in a whole other video, or I don't know. It was just, some of it was really cool, and it's a very different style of writing, and it's always good to explore different styles of writing, and I'm sure I'm going to do more of that over the next year or so. But anyway, I'm about to hit 25 minutes, so my camera will shut off. So I will see you guys next time with either jazz or tracks, or the books for next semester, or Villette. Thanks for watching. Bye.